So we are catching up today with the global CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy. Dan, incredible session today. You've been sharing your insights with a huge number of gamers and streamers this afternoon. What do you feel the key takeaway is? What do you want people to be aware of in 2026 when they're using Twitch?
I think the biggest thing is we've really seen this evolution where I think live is really kind of exploding. And I think that is because ultimately people are looking for this authentic connection. So if you're a creator, think about how do I take my fans and make them into a community where they're connected with each other and where they feel me authentically showing myself to them.
And I think that's a really important point because we are living in the age of AI. You know, we were chatting with Google earlier about how easy it is to make content using AI. And there's something very authentic, very relatable about live streaming today.
Yeah, I think the foundation of live streaming is AI just becomes a tool, but ultimately the reason people are there is to build a true human connection with somebody, and it's the creator they care about.
And I think the interesting evolution we see with Twitch over the years is that back in the day it was very much seen as a gaming platform for gamers. Today you were saying nowadays it's much more of a platform for some people who game, but also many other things we're doing. We're seeing a lot more live chat, cooking. You were talking about going to the gym as well. How have you seen that rather organic shift and what's really led that change?
Yeah, the way I sometimes describe it is when you go back in time, Twitch was really dominated by entertaining gamers. First and foremost, that's what's defined them. If you look at all of our top streamers today, the way I describe them are they're entertainers that may game some. But first and foremost, they're not just a gamer. And I think this kind of desire for belonging in community, that's not a desire that just gamers have. It's a human desire. And so I think this has kind of happened naturally as people took from this platform and then they felt comfortable sort of stepping away from the keyboard, okay, and just being themselves on camera. It took a little while, but now you see it exploding.
And that's something that you have definitely lived firsthand. You often sing, you play the piano as well, and I think that probably would surprise a lot of people to see a global CEO tuning in and being able to watch that kind of streaming every Wednesday, I think it is.
Well, that's what I try to do every Wednesday, and I was just saying lately because of travel, it hasn't cooperated. But I also love doing IRL streaming and doing things with other creators. But and the reason I do it is the same reason so often people focus on the big creators like a Kai Cenat, but you know, there are millions of people who stream every year, and I do it for the same reason they do it, because I enjoy it. And I like the impact that I have on those people that show up and be part of my community.
I love that. Again, I think it's a big focus on connection over perfection. Now, of course, everyone wants to know how to make money. So when we look at monetization, you were saying that short form content really is king these days.
Well, no, interestingly, short form content is not king for monetization. It's king for discovery. Okay, short form content, it is easier because people are sitting there swiping and they see hundreds of creators. Okay, so if someone doesn't know you, it's easier. But actually it's quite bad for making money because people don't form an emotional connection with you as a creator. So in fact, one thing that I've heard many people say, and now I'm just repeating them, short form content is how you get discovery, long form content is how you make money.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate you correcting me on that. Tell me, in terms of other top tips for creators, you were saying the great thing about Twitch, you really only need your mobile phone. You did say if you're streaming out in the middle of the desert, maybe you might need a Starlink. But what would you say would be the top tools for success these days when using Twitch?
Yeah, the way I think of it, it is not so much about the tools, okay? I think the biggest challenge is, first of all, you need to create some type of regular pattern. Okay. Number two, you need to come up with something to do. And when you think of something to do, think of something you enjoy doing that either you're already doing or you want to be doing more. So when it started, gaming was big. You know what gamers do a lot? They game. Okay. So don't do something that you wouldn't enjoy doing if not for streaming. So that's why I play the piano and sing. And interestingly, I do it more because I stream. Because I can't sit there, I won't sit there for 2 hours by myself and play the piano and sing in my house. But if I'm streaming, I do. And I like doing it more. So think of something you want to do more of and do that.
I love that. And I think it's also about community building as well. I was reading some comments from you in your newspaper article saying traditionally when we think about social media, it can be quite isolating. We're sitting by ourselves, flicking through the YouTube shorts, etc. And actually something like Twitch really brings that community together because it's not just about the content you're creating, but it's also about the community involvement. And that's quite unique when it comes to Twitch.
Yeah, the way I describe it is that if you think of other platforms, on TikTok, you might see 2,000 creators in a week. On YouTube, you might see 500. On Twitch, people who use this regularly might watch 5. Okay? And that means the emotional connection is not with the platform, it's with the creator. And if you're a creator, that's what you want. You want them attached to you and what you have to do.
Okay, couple of last questions for you. We're almost out of time. Biggest mistake you see people making on Twitch these days, and how can they overcome that?
I think the biggest mistake is needing to answer this question of, am I doing Twitch or am I doing short form content? The answer is both. You should think of Twitch as upstream of your short form content.
Okay, I love that. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. Twitch, are we profitable yet?
I don't answer that anymore. I don't talk about that. This is the way but here's the way I describe it actually that matters more. Our business works. In other words, we've worked to make sure that this is the way I describe it is it a viable business that we can sustain, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. If you look at our creators, they build a community, and they're still going to be servicing that community 20, 30, 40 years. They have kids. So we have a responsibility to build a platform that is here in, 2075, 2200, and that's what we've been doing.
Well, you are certainly doing something right there. Dan, a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Well,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.